California DMV has been plagued with issues that have made headlines in recent months, from long wait times to ID debacles, even registering people who were unable to vote. Last year, the DMV issued real ID cards to more than 2 million Californians. However, the government says their process to verify information did not meet their security requirements. The DMV also announced back in September they mishandled more than 20,000 voter registrations, mistakenly registering 1,500 people to vote, 86 of those cases right here in Kern County. And the battle continues between California and the federal government over billions of dollars in federal funds for the high-speed rail project. Last month, Governor Gavin Newsom announced the project, which has been the subject of scrutiny due to ballooning costs and construction delays, will not connect Los Angeles and the Bay Area as planned. Instead, the rail will only connect from Bakersfield to Merced. President Trump has also demanded California repay the federal government for money issued for that project, but state officials have vowed to fight to keep that cash. And local Assemblyman Vince Fong joins us tonight live in studio to address these issues and more that are impacting Kern County. Assemblyman Vince Fong, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. I want to begin with the DMV. Recently, you have called the DMV, quote, a train wreck, and called for a comprehensive audit to address what you've called failed leadership and management. What realistically can people expect from the DMV given all these issues going forward?
Well, the list of mishaps that the DMV has undertaken is it's endless. And so what we need to do is we need to figure out what's going on, what's wrong. It's a clear management problem. And so we can't continue to throw more money, hard-earned tax dollars, into a flawed system. So we've asked for an audit, and we hope that the one will be called in May. And so once we know that the audit is underway, then we can figure out once and for all what the structural flaws are and move forward in determining a detailed plan on how we can improve the DMV.
And the governor in his State of the State address called to reimagine the DMV, if you will. What does that look like? I mean, we're so used to the DMV, the process, the wait times. How do you reverse this? How do you get back to a system that's more efficient? Is it ever possible under the current the guidelines and the current structure to get the DMV moving efficiently?
Well, we have to think differently. The DMV is one of the few agencies that every Californian has to go to, and is the one agency that I've seen that tells you don't come to see us, and that's unacceptable. Californians rightly expect their state government to function. So it could be that we allow Californians to go to other parts, to go to other organizations, to AAA, to get their DMV, to get their registration renewals, to get their license renewals. It could be a whole host of things. Just think of this: the DMV still does not take credit cards when you go to the DMV to allow you to pay for DMV registrations. That is unacceptable. We have to get the DMV up to the 21st century.
Right, and when I hear that, and viewers at home hear that, they may hear in issues in Sacramento, typically the more money and passing those costs on to voters. So can people expect higher fees as a result of trying to clean up the DMV?
Well, that's unacceptable. But we've just seen a recent report where the motor vehicle account, the biggest account the DMV operates, which is where your DMV registration fees go, that it's going to go insolvent by 2021. So what we're seeing is a clear mismanagement of tax dollars. And so we can't continue to throw more money into a flawed system. I believe that we shouldn't put any more money into the DMV until we know what the problems are and how we can completely rehaul and overhaul the entire DMV structure.
All right, we're going to continue to follow that in May when that discussion happens for the
Absolutely.
budget. I want to move to high-speed rail. The governor in his State of the State address essentially called to scale back that project. The Central Valley, now only the portion that will connect Bakersfield to Merced. Do you still support the high-speed rail given that idea?
Well, I've never supported the high-speed rail because we've never seen a viable plan. The ridership numbers were never real. The cost overruns were tremendous. I mean, we're now looking at a full-scale system that originally started at $30 billion, and now the estimates are $77 to $98 billion. Now, the governor is sending mixed messages. He now is trying to downscale it, but that's not what the voters were told in 2008. The voters were told that it was going to go from LA to San Francisco. And now, if the governor is trying to change what the plan is, then let's be honest with the public. Let's allow the voters to re-vote on what the new plan is. But at the end of the day, no matter what the plan is, the entire structure is mismanaged, and we can't continue, again, to throw hard-earned tax dollars, money that is earned by by the people of California. It is not our money in Sacramento. It is the money of everyday Californians. And so we have to be stewards, good stewards of the tax dollar.
Well, so you've essentially called for this project to be halted. But what happens to that infrastructure? I mean, you're talking about stuff that's been already built in Fresno, and ground's been broken in certain areas, land's been sold. I mean, is it realistic to just scrap this entire project and divert those funds somewhere else? Or is this a project that needs to, in some form, come to fruition?
Well, look, this is precious tax dollars that we're talking about. And so if we're going to spend tax dollars, let's do it in the best way possible. We can invest in short line rail. We can invest in road infrastructure and water infrastructure and medical access. Those are the needs that Central Valley has, and that's a better use of the tax dollars that we have. But if we're going to spend money on another Amtrak line, this is going to be the most expensive Amtrak line in California history, and we cannot continue to go down the path we currently have. So let's be honest with the California public. If we're going to change the plan, then let the voters decide.
All right, Assemblyman Vince Fong joining us live in studio talking about the DMV high-speed rail. We thank you for your time. We're going to have to leave it there. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.